So you managed to pick up a brand new character, but you're experiencing performance issues. Well, taking into consideration this gem of a banner will save you from that phase of disappointment. One of the best ways to progress your account to ensure your characters and the ones you pull later on deal insane damage would be to invest in the standard weapon banner. This banner is definitely one of the best aspects of WutheringWaves and is a luxury when you're coming from games like Genshin with weapon banners being hell. It just holds a ton of value, especially for free to play. And I'll explain why you should spend your Lustrous tides on this banner opposed to the standard character banner. Just before we jump right into it, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more WutheringWaves content and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. So after you have completed both the Novice Random 5-star banner and the Guaranteed 5-star Selector banner using your Lustrous tides, you are left with the choice of either spending your tides on the character banner or the weapon banner. Now there's a few reasons why you should not spend any Lustrous tides on the standard character banner at all. The first reason would be you aren't guaranteed the 5-star character you want. Fortunately, KuroGames blessed us with 2 guaranteed 5-star character selectors and a random 5-star from the standard selection. So if you re-rolled or got lucky, you should have pulled 3 out of the 5 characters already. So until you have these characters built up with solid echo sets, leveled up their 4-tier skill tree, equipped them with good weapons and leveled them up, you really wouldn't need any more 5-star characters. This is excluding the exclusive characters you may have pulled as well, like Jiyan and Yinlin, so you would need to build them up too. If it's duplicates you are after, then you need to consider that there's a chance of you pulling a character that you won't touch for a while, since as I just said, you wouldn't have the resources or need for them now. Also, you may not like how a certain character plays, and if you do pull that character, you likely would leave them in your box untouched. However, when it comes to the standard weapon banner, you are guaranteed exactly which weapon you want, which is a godsend. So you are able to pick up weapons for the characters you run the most, and they will have a huge impact on their performance. Essentially, the weapon banner allows you to ensure your summons won't technically be wasted, since you are guaranteed to make full use from the weapon you pull. Another huge reason why you shouldn't pull on the character banner is because you will definitely pull these characters through exclusive banners. The key difference between exclusive character banners and exclusive weapon banners is that you are able to pull standard 5-star characters from exclusive character banners, but you wouldn't pull standard 5-star weapons from exclusive weapon banners since they are guaranteed to drop the exclusive weapon. So the only way possible to pull standard 5-star weapons would be to pull on the weapon banner. If you want one of the standard characters you are missing, it really is only a matter of time before you pick them up through losing a 50-50. So it would only make perfect sense to summon on the standard weapon banner. The final reason why you shouldn't pull on the standard character banner is going to be due to one word many players detest: power creep. Every character will be power crept at some point, and you likely would use newer characters instead, unless you make the effort to use older characters, and I understand since I likely will try to use Yinlin till the end of time, due to a couple massive reasons. The unfortunate fact is the value of characters just diminish over time, and some quicker than others. However, 5-star weapons will be able to maintain their value for a much longer period of time, as better weapons tend to take a while to drop, and sometimes the difference in power between them is not that big, meaning you wouldn't feel the need to pick up newer weapons. So you could say weapons in general have better longevity than characters, which would be great for your account, since the best thing about weapons is that you can swap them onto other characters whenever you want. An example of where this would be clutch would be in Tower of Adversity. This mode requires you to build multiple teams with complete loadouts to clear it, but you are able to provide both teams with the same weapons. So if you have Jiyan on one team and Calcharo on the second team, for example, you could switch the Verdant Summit or Lustrous Razor between them before they enter their stages. The ability to pull this off is massive since it reduces the requirement of having to pull multiple weapons down to one. However, only if you have multiple characters that would need the same weapon on different teams. So weapons would definitely hold a ton of value for your account since they can benefit multiple characters, making them a lot more powerful. Moving on to the weapons from the banner. As mentioned, you are able to target which weapon you would like. All of the weapons from the selection are great and would be the best in slot for many different characters. So how would you decide on which weapon to aim for? Well, between weapons there are a few that stand out due to their passives and main stats. Then you would need to see which character you are likely going to use for quite a while to make full use out of the weapon you aim for. Also, you may want to consider your DPS characters first when choosing which 5-star weapon to pick up, as they would impact your team's performance the most, allowing you to clear through content a lot quicker. The best weapon in general due to their main stat would be the one-handed sword, as it's one of the 2 weapons that can provide crit rate to your character. Along with the crit rate main stat, it also provides 12.8% energy regen and can buff your attack up to 12% through casting the resonant skill. The passive is great, but this weapon allowing you to obtain that perfect crit rate to crit damage ratio a lot more easily seriously skyrockets the value of this weapon, as echoes can sometimes be a pain. Even more so when you have been farming for hours to obtain that one specific echo which decides to roll the exact rolls you don't want. The other major benefit is that this weapon is best in slot for every one-handed sword user in the game, being Rover, Danjin, Sanhua, and Yangyang. This means you would be able to build any of these characters up and use them at their peak with this weapon, which would provide more of an incentive to actually build these characters too. So the flexibility this weapon provides is unmatched between the rest of the other weapons you can pick up. For example, the Lustrous Razor is the best in slot weapon for Calcharo, as he can make full use out of the attack main stat and resonance liberation damage bonus the passive provides. However, it wouldn't be that great for the other two Broadblade characters being Taoqi and Jiyan. Taoqi's damage scales off her defense, so would be better off with a 4-star weapon that provides defense. Jiyan's resonance liberation damage scales off his heavy attack damage, so the resonance liberation damage bonus of up to 21% from the Lustrous Razor wouldn't benefit him whatsoever. So ultimately, the Lustrous Razor Broadblade will only be best in slot for Calcharo. So taking into consideration the flexibility of the weapon to see how many characters it would be great for, would be something worth thinking about to get the most out of the weapon you pick up. However, as I mentioned, you need to prioritize the character you are likely going to use the most to clear majority of content, which is just as or even more important than the flexibility of a weapon. And if that character is Calcharo, you should definitely consider picking up the Lustrous Razor, since the weapon was pretty much made for him. Everyone's account is different, so if you main Calcharo and don't use any one-handed sword characters, the value of the one-handed sword wouldn't be as high to you as it would be for someone else. The other standout weapon would be the pistols, and also being the second weapon providing a crit rate main stat. The passive for the weapon would be amazing for sub DPS characters, as it enables a 10% attack boost for the next character switching in when you cast the outro skill. So both the passive and main stats are amazing on this weapon, which would boost its value. However, as I mentioned, you should consider picking up weapons for your DPS characters first rather than sub DPS and support characters. Once you have picked up a weapon or two for your dedicated DPS characters, you could then pick up the pistols to boost your main DPS's damage even more. Also, the 10% attack buff being provided through the outro skill would make this weapon very flexible, since any sub DPS pistol user would be able to fully utilize the passive and the main stat. The Rectifier and Gauntlets are also good, but shouldn't be considered for your first few weapons, as they are for characters that don't either need much investment like Verina or niche characters like Yangyang. Overall, it really depends on your account and which direction you plan on going in with your characters. If you use characters like Havoc, Rover, and Sanhua, picking up the Emerald of Genesis would be amazing for them. If you're a Calcharo main, the Lustrous Razor could then be the weapon to aim for instead. Just note, the more specific the weapon passive is, the less of a chance you would be able to use that weapon on future characters. However, you shouldn't worry too much about future characters and their weapons, as you are playing the game now and you will need weapons that benefit your characters to clear the content you are facing now. We also do have the weapon selector and union level 45, so it should help in not making the decision on which weapon to aim for not too difficult, as you would already have one of the 5-star weapons. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more WutheringWaves content and drop a like. Also drop a comment on whether you are going for the weapon banner or character banner and what are you aiming for. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.